Alright, so we will be using GraphQL with Oak. Some people have already created a package which works with GraphQL and Oak, but we will be using both of the kind of not really this package, but we'll use mode, Oak and GraphQL. Okay, so if we want to go to Graph Oak, then in that one we need to simply search for Oak. Oak is a middleware for Deno's HTTP server, so we'll simply use this package. You can take a look at this package and get more familiar with it. Okay, so I'm going to remove everything that we have here, and instead of that we'll just do an import of that Oak packages. So the application and the router from Oak, and here we need constant router equals to new router, and before that we even need to have GraphQL package. So in order to have GraphQL package, we'll go to pika GraphQL and have this particular package. Okay, so this package is here, and we simply want just one thing from the whole package, which will be the GraphQL and nothing else. So GraphQL, that's it. Alright, so router.post, and in this post we'll have /GraphQL. If you don't know how it works, then it is just supposed to do a post request to /graph, and that's it. Alright, so we'll have an arrow function which will be request and response. So first parameter should be request and response. Okay, so if we'll simply do response dot body equals to working fine. Alright, so we'll even need to start the application. So let app equals to new application, and app.use. So app.use router.routes and app.use router.allowed methods. We need to give these permissions in order to use it. Okay, so console log app is running on port 5000, and app.listen port will be 5000. Alright, let's see how it went, and it should give us port is running at 5000 or whatever it is, and it did fail because address is already in use. Okay, so that could be. Alright, so now it won't crash because I just stopped another server which was running on 5000. Alright, support is running, and let's check it out. So if we have a simple GraphQL thing, okay, it's on a different. Alright, so if I do a post request with localhost /5000 graph and do a post, it says working fine. That means everything is perfect in our application, and now we simply need to have is GraphQL implemented. So in order to implement GraphQL, what you need to do is, there are two things which I should have shown you, or this is the right time to show. Okay, what is a schema? So there are two things which is called schema and resolvers. Schema is a particular set of instructions. It describes what exactly the object should look like, and it also describes the relationship between those types. So if you see in the example type book, so it specifically tells you that the ID will be int, and the exclamatory sign, it says that it is required. If you don't have this called, it's going to tell you that ID is required, you cannot not have it. Title is string and it is required as well. Pages is integer, but it's not required. So if you don't call it, that's fine. Chapter is the same way, integer, and yeah. And this is the type query. And book, it says like this type book is required and it is an array. This parenthesis means that it's an array. And the second one is an example in which you want to have a particular book. So if, let's say, if I want a book with ID 100, so that's what it says. You call a slash graph with a book, and you need to have an ID which is an integer. If you have a string, it is going to tell you that it is a string and we cannot process it. It's supposed to be an integer. And whenever this particular function is going to return something, it's going to be in the type of book. So this is strongly typed, so it is much beneficial for a large application. What are resolvers? Resolvers are those functions which perform a task. So this book ID slash book ID and book, this is just an instruction. These are the guys who does the dirty work, who does the database calling and processing and returning the value. These are just instructors. So kind of you can tell that these are the managers and these are the engineers. These guys guide it. These are super important as well. These are resolvers. These are very crucial. Okay, so this is what I wanted to show you. Now let's try to implement it. So if you go here in our project, you simply need to have an executable schema. So first of all, I'm going to create a schema.ts and I'll have another file which will be resolver.ts. Okay, so I'll have one function which will be an execute schema, which is going to do a GraphQL call. So const execute schema. Okay, and this is going to do a const result equals to await, and this is going to call the GraphQL. And first parameter will be schema, which we don't have right now. We'll have it. And second will be query, which we don't have it either. But new query will have this thing as well. Okay. Alright, so first of all, let us go into the schema and have some basic values in there. So import build schema from, we need to have that from that particular HTTP. So I'm just going to copy and paste that. Alright, so constant schema equals to build schema, and it is going to be a string. So if you want to have a multi-line string, you need to use tilde. So schema and query equals to, or not equals to, but colon query, and you can simply have string right now. I don't want to have too much at this point, so export default schema. Okay, so I have the schema here and we'll simply import it, but I'm going to quickly pause this video and I'll see how the recording went, because there are some issues when I complete the recording, it doesn't record. So I'll see you in just a bit. Bye bye.